Diogo Dallo. He pulls the ball and then Ronaldo! Oh! That is outstanding! A spectacular goal from Alejandro Garnacho!
Paravan had come for the corner. The last-ditch effort might just backfire. It's a good hit from Juranovic, but it's not on target. But now it's Jerome Roussillon, former Wolfsburg player, to make it 3-1. He must score. Oh, he hasn't. They've somehow kept him out.
He's going to come forward, taking the space around Ladero Suarez. Elba, now the fourth. Sterling, off the bar, and Messi!
Diogo Dallo. He pulls the ball and then Ronaldo! Oh! That is outstanding!
Backfire. It's a good hit from Juranovic, but it's not on target. But now it's Jerome Roussillon, former Wolfsburg player, to make it 3-1. He must score. Oh, he hasn't. They've somehow kept him out.
He's going to come forward, taking the space around Ladero Suarez. Elba, now the fourth. Sterling, off the bar, and Messi!
To make it 3-1, he must score. Oh, he hasn't. They've somehow kept him out.
He's going to come forward, taking the space around Ladero Suarez. Elba, now the fourth. Sterling, off the bar, and Messi!
Diogo Dallo. He pulls the ball and then Ronaldo!
Alright, so good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Jabsports on Jab Media TV. My name is Shulis. You can also call me Amin. Before I begin today's episode, let me just acknowledge my sponsors. Today's show is sponsored by EF Metalworks, which is located at Amasaman. EF Metalworks, which is located at Amasaman. Anything that has to do with metalworks, it can be for windows, for gates, whatever. Just contact Mr. Frimpong using his name EF Metalwork on Facebook, and then anything that has to do with that will be sorted to you. Nurturing Your American Dreams today, a book written by Frank A.J. Mensah. So this book talks about how you can gain success in Ghana without necessarily traveling abroad to achieve any success. Just read the book, and the book is going to inspire you with comprehensive guide. Just contact Jab Media TV on our social media platforms to purchase a copy. Dell Cosmetics and Jewelries, anything that has to do with cosmetics, anything that has to do with jewelry, just contact Dell Cosmetics on Instagram. Stunning jewelries, unbeatable prices, expert advice, anything, just contact them. And remember, if it's your first time you are going to purchase anything from Dell Cosmetics, you have just use the code Jab Media at checkout, and then you're going to get a 10% off your first purchase. Right. So today's show or today's episode, we're going to talk about we'll briefly talk about the FIFA Club World Cup. Remember, Manchester City have been kicked out of the FIFA Club World Cup, so we'll talk about that. We'll also continue with our transfer news update. Remember, it's the transfer window all the way till September, so we are going to discuss the more intriguing transfer news updates we are going to talk about. And our key topic for today is the new Premier League rules, or the new Premier League laws. Remember, it has caused a lot of controversies. A lot of people are saying on social media that why do you have to it's like people are basically complaining that the English Premier League is becoming an American sport. We are trying to Americanize, into quotes, the sport. And I mean, in a way, it is true, because I don't get why maybe a team might be losing 3-0 or 4-0. Imagine City is lashing Burnley 3 or 4-0, and then you will come and say you want to interview the coach or want to interview. What do you want them to tell you at that time when emotions are very high? So we'll discuss about that. Right, today Danny is back in the studios. Was here 2 weeks ago as my co-analyst to help us on today's show, and he's back again today. So let Danny say hi to you.
Yeah. Good afternoon to our listeners. And I wish everybody a happy Republic Day. Today being 1st of July. Even though today is not a holiday, but we are still commemorating the first.
Our president says now the holiday good day weekend.
Yeah, so a very good afternoon to them, and then a happy holiday to them as well.
All right. So Danny is back, so it's going to be an interesting show today. Right. So we'll basically start with a long issue, which is the Fulham. So that's, I think, last week, that was 27th. The Premier League released three new rules or laws, and then it says that halftime interviews with players and managers will be conducted from next season, this upcoming season. Interviews with players who get subbed off, and then dressing room broadcasts. Now, so I mean, this is typical American football style. And then, I mean, I won't lie to you, people are actually very, very pissed off. I was in class last week for sport journalism, and then my lecturer was saying that now football has become solely about money. And I mean, I keep on arguing that football is a business. No matter what, it's a business. And now it's controlled by American oligarchs. Whether you like it or not, it's controlled by these Americans and then these Arabians oligarchs. There's nothing you can do about it. But no matter what, we have to try and protect some certain part of it. And even after this, I also, before we even go back before we start discussing the transfer news updates, there's a quote that I read last week about the CEO of Bayern, who was saying that there are a lot footballers are complaining about a lot of too many games. And then it's true, because it tends to cause a lot of injuries and stuff. But the reason why it's happening like this is because the same footballers, their agents are requesting for a lot of money.
Yes.
And in order for we businessmen to be able to keep football running, or to keep this football class running, we need to play more games to be able to make more money. He said something, this was what he said. We'll discuss about that. But I think it still runs with the whole Americanized way of how football has become. And I'm not surprised to see this, to be honest, because the Premier League needs a lot of money to keep the whole league running. And that's what I was telling you, that and that's what Africans are not doing. And that's why if you watch the Club World Cup, even the big stars like Alan and all these guys are struggling, because the big boys or the European leagues have been able to recapture their whole audience in how to present their football, and that's what we are seeing. So quickly there. This law, basically this whole laws, in your own opinion, your own perception, I mean, how does it, from what people are saying, we are Americanizing the whole sport, are we actually doing that? And how does this thing really tend to solve issues?
Thank you. But coming to the rules, in generally, there are some good sides of it and there are some bad sides of it in my
Of course,
opinion.
yeah.
One of the reasons why the Premier League is introducing these rules, or one of the main reasons, was that they want to get the fans more involved. They want to bring the clubs or the teams closer to the fans.
Yeah.
You get it? In the game generally closer to the fans. And it's not as if it's something new
Yeah.
in football. When you go to the La Liga, for example, they conduct halftime
Yeah,
interviews.
yeah, of course.
Even in the Serie A,
Yeah.
they do those things. So it coming to the Premier League is not a new thing in football
Yeah.
per se. But the other rule about interviewing the players that get subbed off and all those things, that one we usually see it in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then the dressing room broadcast.
Yeah.
Those dressing room broadcasts, some of the clubs do it individually,
Yeah.
but just that the Premier League is coming to do it on a large scale.
Yeah.
So it is not a bad thing in its sense.
Yeah.
The bad side of it is that, for example, a player has been served off in the 63rd minute for maybe not playing well, and you are going to interview him. Most of the Premier League clubs regulate what their players say
Yeah.
in interviews.
Yes.
In as much as they allow you to speak freely,
Yeah.
they tell you how you should go about your interviews and all those things.
Yeah.
And if it happens like that, there'll be, how will I put it, they have no media person around them to coach them, to be able to say what they should say and what they are not supposed to be. So in that sense, it will make the players become more vulnerable to fans, for them to, how do we call it, attack them.
Yeah. Because in 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 a in a modern system now, where we are fighting, we are trying to fight social media abuse. There are a lot of there are practically a lot of campaigns against social media abuse, where we all saw that with Harry Maguire, United fans. We are seeing it even with other teams, where Chelsea and Chelsea fans and Sancho, even City fans and Grealish, where social media abuse has now become the key to everything. You go on social media and somebody doesn't even understand something will just come and say anything he wants to say.
Yes.
So the Premier League is doing a huge campaign on social media abuse. And then you come here and then you bring something like interviews with players who get subbed off. This is something that's going to actually boost social media abuse. Because you know, I mean, look at United, for example, or even some of the top clubs, for example. Look at when they are not even performing well, and look at some of the abuse. Even Madrid, when Vinicius has won them the Champions, look at how abused. Yeah, look at the sort of abuse he had for Madrid fans. So if you in the Premier League are doing something like, okay, you get somebody is not playing very well and gets served off in the 50th, 55th minute, and you know how English media is.
Yes.
A whole journalist can come and ask you that, why did you even play poorly, or what did you go and see the sort of abuse they are going to get from the fans.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with the abuse, but the Premier League is also not looking. They are not really thinking about that. They feel like maybe they will put things in place for them to reduce. As for the social media abuse, the Europeans have evolved in a way that even if you are using your account to abuse someone, that they deem it to be extreme. They can track you and then they can arrest you. So yes, in stopping the social media abuse, I don't think we can stop it in the interim. But for tracking and then making sure that they don't do those things, and I think the Premier League is doing something that they are trying to. The Premier League they've evolved in a way where they are trying to market every aspect of the game that they have. They are running a league where they don't even have a title sponsor, unlike other Premier League, other leagues. La Liga has Santander. They used to have Santander. And then Serie A used to have Tim. So all those, they've moved away from that. The Premier League has moved away long from that. After the Barclays era, they don't have any title sponsor. So they've used different aspects of the sport to market themselves to make more money. And as you said from the beginning, the teams and then the players are demanding more money. So they have to find a way. If they say the halftime interview is sponsored by a particular company, you know how much money that they are making from that company. So if they get people to come in to help in those aspects of the games that they want to market, that is making more income for the Premier League and the teams that will be involved.
Because you know, that's why I always tell people that at the end of the day, football is a business. It's all about the money, and whatever they are going to do to make the money is exactly what football stakeholders are thinking about.
Yes.
So if you actually sit on Twitter and be like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all have our concerns. I have my concerns as a journalist. Fans have their concerns.
Oh, yes.
Of course, yes. But at the end of the day, it's about making the money in order to be able, not only about making the money, but also marketing the league to become a much more better league. That's why I'm saying that the Premier League is always about 5 to 10 steps ahead of other leagues. Like, anytime you look at it, in general, they are just
they are
5 steps ahead of all those leagues.
Yes.
And it's, you see, yes, they are trying to look at the American. Is it the thing is?
I don't think it is necessarily American. It's true that some of the things that are being done, they are American, but they are not looking at it at the American point of view. I'm sure the Premier League is looking at it purely from an economic point of view.
Oh yeah, of course, and that's what I'm always saying, that because it's an Americanized like sport. Like, oh yeah, it's basically it's basically Americanized because the US started it.
Yes.
And people are thinking, okay, because the US started it, so they mean the Europeans or the English are actually copying from them. But it's not necessarily that. In an economic way, their ideas brings in money.
Yes.
And that's what they are looking at. They are not looking at, okay, necessarily like they are copying the US. They are copying what will bring them money.
Yes, they are looking for money.
Yes. So that's why sometimes I'm on social media and I'm like, it's not necessarily yeah, America brought it, but it's about them making money. And whatever is going to bring money is what is going to bring money. But my concern about this whole thing is that to me it's not the player standpoint. Like, for example, I actually want to be a coach one day, right? And then imagine like my team, they are lashing my team with two. And then you come and interview me at halftime when my emotions are high or I'm very frustrated. I mean, how do you want me to? And you definitely get journalists.
I think that is the whole point of introducing this law. Looking at the standpoint of the Premier League, they are looking at trying to get into the heads of the players in the heat of the moment. You know, people get to hear the players' thoughts or the manager's thoughts after the match is over and everything has cooled down, the frustration, the tempers, and everything has calmed down. Then the person is thinking. Then the person is able to answer from an objective point of view. But this time, they want you to feel the emotion as and when it is happening, the heat of the moment, what is going through the manager's head, what is going through the player's head at the time that the events are unfolding. So, and then, truth be told, sometimes we also want to see, sometimes you see Pep Guardiola is losing and then you want to know what is going through his head at the moment. You know, when you are watching football, even the commentator used to say, I can only imagine what the coach has to tell his players at halftime. So those halftime broadcasts, they are also, they help to bring the heat of the moment to the fans. They get to experience it like the player will experience it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The fans get to enjoy the pressure, understand the emotion, you get to feel the emotion, the sort of pressure going on at that moment, the heat. But then again, what about how are we protecting, like how are the Premier League going to protect the players and the manager? That's my key concern. Because, you know, the thing is, at the end of the day, when it comes to the interviews, journalists are the ones going to conduct those interviews.
And I'm sure they will be regulated. They will be regulated because if you look at the La Liga, for example, when it is halftime, they have a La Liga a La Liga journalist who does the interviews for the players. So maybe sometimes, I'm sure maybe as the match is going on, there may be a few minutes to halftime, they'll talk to the team and say we want to interview this particular player. The team will make the player available for the interview and then they'll go on with the interview. So I'm sure it will be in a regulated space and I think it will go on well. Because the only downside I see for this is especially when a coach wants to relay his information to players. Maybe there's a particular player that he needs to give instructions to, and they need to go to the dressing room for him to relay that information. Now, it makes it difficult for once you are interviewing the player, even though it is for a short period. Within that period, the coach needs him to talk to him.
Yeah.
So
and then the camera is on him.
the
How does he relay that information?
yes, how does he relay that? How does he even get him to get into the dressing room? Because I remember one match. I remember a match, a Manchester derby.
Yeah.
At halftime, Manchester United, Man City was down by a goal.
Yeah.
And when it was halftime, if you see the way Pep Guardiola rallied his players to be quick to enter the dressing room, because he had a lot of things to say to them.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, if there's a player that he needs to speak to or give instructions to, it is going to delay the instruction and then the magnitude of the information that he wants to give to him. That is the downside that I see. Apart from that, it's not an entirely bad situation, but I think the Premier League will protect the players, and then everything will go as. But it's a new rule, and I'm sure that they've thought it through. So as time goes on, we'll see how it unfolds, and then we can give more comments on it.
Yeah, because of course, you know, because for example, the dressing room broadcast, for example, you can't. There are certain like sensitive information you want to say in the dressing room, and then it becomes a huge issue. So how does that become? You want to relay an information, right? You want to relay an information, then cameras are on you. And you also don't want your opponent to also understand the strategy you want to use.
Yes,
so unless the Premier League is telling me that, yes, even they are going to show us the broadcast, like they're going to show us everything that goes on, but a certain part is going to be cut off.
When you read the rules into details, they specifically talk that when coaches want to give team talks and all those stuff, when it has to do with the tactical aspect of the game or the parts of the game where it will involve the opposing team, the broadcast will stop. Maybe they'll still go on to take a video or to capture it, but it won't be broadcasted because that time is a sensitive period. That is how will I put it? It is their safe space, so they won't do that. But other what goes on in the dressing room and all that, apart from maybe the tactical talks and then the team pep talks, those ones they won't.
Imagine we had Jose Mourinho in the league as it stands now. With someone like him, when he's in the heat, he's in the moment, and then as a journalist, come and ask me a stupid question. He's actually going to give a very stupid reply. And you know,
even when he's not in the heat of the moment, he's giving you.
You know, and I mean, I have the likes of Pep and all those guys. You know, they are very calm, and they. I mean, they don't have to answer questions. Even though sometimes
Pep is not calm.
But I mean,
Pep is someone who has he's when he comes to the media, his demeanor changes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because when you watch Man City All or Nothing, you watch that one. Yes, you see that he's not a
calm guy. But sometimes I mean, he's way better than Jose though. I mean, he's a little bit.
He's more.
But then again, I think it's in terms of the economic aspect of the league, the financial aspect of the league. I mean, the laws are great laws for them. Because it tends to bring them more finances, more money, and to we the supporters, we the journalists, and whatever, we that we follow football, it brings us close it brings us closer to the players, closer to the team, and even gives the journalists also more information. We want to see how they're going to handle the negative aspect of it, the social media abuse, the sort of questions the journalists are going to ask them, and all those things is what
I believe it is like VAR. When VAR was first introduced, everybody was like, how to delay the game, or to do that, or to do this. They have been positive and they have been negative, but as time has gone on,
I think it's still gotten much better.
Yes, it's gotten much better, and then so
we'll see how that one goes, and how referees are also going to deal with that. Because remember, in the moment of the heat, you must also say something against referees, and in the Premier League laws too, there is something on that. So we'll see how generally this is going to fit into the whole.
One thing that the Premier League does very well is that regardless of anytime they are bringing on in a new rule, they actually hold workshops and trainings for for the teams. So I am sure they will hold one of those for them to talk to the teams, the players, the managers, all the stakeholders in it, for them to understand how this is really going to work and explain the details of everything to them. So as time goes on, we'll see it unfold,
Yeah,
and then we can properly dissect it, and then maybe those negative points that we have pointed out, and see how they'll deal with them.
Yeah. Right. So still not exactly the rules. But as I said, the statement I gave earlier on, where I said the CEO of Bayern said the CEO of Bayern was like a lot of money brings, like, I mean, right now football, there's a lot of, I play a lot of games currently, a lot of matches, and then because I play a lot of matches, players are getting more injured, players are getting more tired, fatigues and all those things. But then again, players want a lot of money. Their managers, their agents want a lot of money, and football clubs also need to play a lot of football to also make a lot of money themselves due to TV rights, stadium sales, whatever. Now, before I even go into details of what he said, is that statement true or false?
It's a true statement.
It's a true statement.
It's a true statement. Apart from clubs or teams getting monies from sponsorship dues and endorsements, their major income streams are from stadiums, ticket sales, competitions.
Yeah.
The more competitions that you are in, the more money you make.
Yeah.
Yes, so that is why some clubs struggle to make it to the Champions League, because even just appearing on the Champions League in itself is making you enough money. For example, I was reading an article somewhere where they say if Chelsea is able to make it to the finals of the Club World Cup, the money they will make without winning it, but they're just making the finals, the money they will make will cover for the signing of Liam Delap, the signing of João Pedro, and then the third signing. So the three signings they have made this season, the money they will make for the from the Club World Cup alone can cover how do we call it, those signings. So that means that most of the incomes that clubs make are from competitions.
Yeah, and you look at clubs like West Ham, Brentford, where Hollywood Bet sponsors Brentford, where Betway sponsors
West Ham.
We have BetPower that sponsors. I think BetPesa also one of them sponsors Everton. So you look at all these betting platforms where they sponsor most of these top football clubs, and then you ask yourself, you literally ask yourself, okay, so these guys or these betting platforms actually need a lot of matches to be able to run consistently all the time, because the more people are betting on matches, the more money they make. Now, these same clubs or this same betting platform are also sponsoring football clubs. So, with this, remember, right now, betting platforms are literally so powerful that they are controlling top clubs, even most of the top decisions that comes from this top management are actually going in favor of them, because the more matches they play, the more money they get. So, if Betway or BetPower or whatever, Sportybet for example, are sponsoring top football clubs, they have influence on management decisions. They are going to request for more matches in favor of them because they are making money.
Yes.
And the money they are paying to these clubs are huge money that the clubs are also using in paying their players and making all sort of decisions. Yes. Of course, definitely, as I said, we are not going to expect matches to rather decrease, but rather it will increase. And that's one reason why people will be like, okay, let's get rid of international football. But you can't get rid of international football. How are you going to do that? Because FIFA needs to make money. National teams also needs to make money from it. So how are you going to get rid of Nations League, for example? Or those who play in the Gold Cup in North America? How do you... And I'm telling you that it's going to get to a point in time when CAF will also bring their own. One day we'll be here and CAF will also create another competition in addition to the AFCON that are going to play.
I don't think even in Africa we have enough competition.
That's what I'm saying. That we'll get to a time when CAF will also create their own.
It is one of the reasons why our teams, our teams, national teams and even club side teams don't do well when they come to the global stage.
Yeah.
So I think, yes. But looking at it on the other hand, I don't think that the football governing bodies are only looking solely at income or economic value. I think they are also thinking about the well-being of the players as well. That is why some of the rules that they make, they try to factor in the players as well. Football is a contact sport and all that, but that is why I think a few years ago they introduced the 5 subs instead of the 3 subs.
Yeah.
All these things are to manage the workload on players. Now the size of squads have been increased.
Yeah.
At first you can have up to 23. Now you can have up to 26, 28. Now you are allowed to register as many players as you want within a certain amount, so that you can rotate. So the more games that you play, you need more quality players, because they know that one player cannot play all the matches in the games, no matter how important he is to you. So it is the onus now lies on the clubs to make sure that they make very important signings, that even the players that are backups to their starting 11s are good enough to compete in those competitions that make them the money, so that they stop complaining that the players are being overworked.
Yeah.
It's true that the players are being overworked, but the players are also some way or one way or the other the cause of the
making enough money. Of
yes,
course, yeah.
because if you are demanding maybe a salary of maybe £350,000 a week, that is a lot of money.
Yeah.
You get me? At the end of the year, you are making around 30 million a year. Where is the club going to get the money from? It is this competition.
Yeah. So if basically you are saying that if the players are saying they are playing a lot of matches, they also need to reduce their salary.
Yeah, so
and then the matches will also come down, so that the spending comes down, and then your matches also comes down.
Because
but
apart from even the salary that you are being paid, they give you bonuses and all. There are other incentives that, and all these things are all money.
Yeah, and you are taking so many incentives, including your salary. And let's be honest, most of these players don't even deserve most of the salaries they take, because I mean, yeah, most of them don't. There's just a few players actually deserve what they take. Most of them don't deserve what they take. But then again, that's where football has gotten to now. And if all accepted that, that is where we are heading now. We are heading to huge salaries, like the salary Ronaldo is taking now at RSL.
Oh God.
Let's be honest. Ronaldo is one of the greatest players of all time, arguably the greatest of one of the greatest. How everybody wants to see it. But then again, he's 30 now or 40. You all know he doesn't deserve what he's taking. I mean, since I've gone to RSL, he has won just one trophy for them. He's here to win the Saudi League.
I don't think Ronaldo's contract has anything to do with trophies there.
No, I'm just trying
the economic value that he brings.
Yeah, I understand all that, but then the salary is still just way overrated. But then the thing is, what I'm trying to, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it.
Yes.
I'm trying to say is that that's where football has gotten to.
Yes.
If you are paying someone like Rashford 350, then why can't you give Ronaldo 600 or 700? That's what I'm trying to say. So that's where football has got into.
If the players think that, so I agree with the CEO of Bayern Munich.
So
if the players think the games are too much, then they
have to reduce your salary, because an agent, before Milo passed away, he could take about 10 million, 15, 20 million on his own agent fees. This guy, the likes of Di Marzio are all doing those things. Even Ronaldo's agent, George Mendes, is doing the same thing. So if you want them, we have to reduce the number of games. So he's right. So so most of the football players that are saying they are getting of course. Why do you? Because you can because of money, you can go and then sign a contract that you want to play the most games. Most coaches don't want to play more. Most coaches sub certain players because they are trying to protect you.
Yes.
But you go and sit somewhere and say that they are substituting you because they don't like you. Ganacho does that. But it's just a form of protection.
Yes.
I mean, let's be honest, if I'm a coach today and I'm losing 3-0 or 4-0, I'm going to serve my good players and let others come in. Because the 3-0 or 4-0 in 60, 70, what again am I going to do? Come and rest and let the others who haven't gotten the opportunity to get the opportunity. But you still get players to complain. And it's all about protection. And that's why I don't like modern players, because I feel like modern players are over-pampered. They feel they suck.
They want much. Everything, but they don't want to give anything.
Thank you. They suck too much. Do you know how? I remember those times where kids watching the likes of Paul Scholes, Zidane, and Iniesta, and all those guys. Pierre. Do you know how they were killing themselves for a game, and they are not even taking close to 6% of what you are taking today.
Yes.
And they were winning trophies.
And they were playing very good football.
Even
during those times, before you can be hyped, they don't just hype anyone for hyping.
And that's what I was saying, that the quality of football now has even gone down, because the best of best players can't even be caught can't even be compared to the average players at that time.
True.
The likes of those times, once the likes of Michu. Everybody mentions Michu, you know this is Michu. But now,
We'll get there.
yeah, of course, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Right, so next is the FIFA Club World Cup, and we are almost at the semi-final stage of the. So we are now at the quarter-final stage of the FIFA Club World Cup. But then again, let's discuss the round of 16. So the last time when our last week's show, we weren't able to give all the results because some matches were yet to be played. Even till today, some matches are yet to be played. Right. So the shocking news of everything is Inter. They lost to Fluminense by 2 goals to nil. I'm surprised. I don't know how you see it, but me, I'm surprised though. Okay. But then again, someone was telling me this morning that Charlie, Inter are tired. And I'm like, yo, Inter are very tired. The fatigue even started showing at the end of the Serie A, and that's how they lost the Serie A to Napoli. Yes. They mentally, physically, they are gone.
Yes, so and then I think the change of tactical direction or technical direction is also a factor. Yeah. But you cannot blame them too much. Fluminense or those in the South American leagues, they are still mid-season. Their season is still going on. Yeah. So ideally, they are in their peak.
They're in their peak forms.
Yes. Yeah. And then these European teams and even some of the most of the African teams, all their leagues and competitions are over. Yeah. So this is a period where they were ideally supposed to be resting or starting preseason. So you cannot say
you can't solely blame them.
Yes, but. I don't think Fluminense is a very good team. I watched one of their games, and the way they hold the ball, the way they pass the ball, and then when they defend as a unit. So in total, Fluminense is a good team, and sometimes we think that being known or popular means that you are superior, but it is not true. Yeah, that's true. And this Club World Cup has actually really shown us that yes, football is a game of chances, and being superior or being known or being popular out there doesn't mean that you are superior than someone else. Mm-hmm. Because I remember the last Club World Cup, the one Man City won. Yeah. I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
The one Man City won. Yeah. They played a game against Fluminense. Yeah. At that time, Marcelo was at Fluminense. Yeah, yeah. They possessed the ball for 2 straight minutes, like against Man City. Yeah, against Man City. You watched that video. I watched that video. And the kind of possession they were holding, even Man City themselves could not take this, and it was very nice to watch. And you see them like, hey, this is a Brazilian team. It's because we are not known to the Brazilian league or we are not known to the South American league, so we think that those teams there are not good enough. But they are actually very, very, very good teams. And then they have some very good tactical brains behind them, and they are doing a lot of good. So I think kudos to Fluminense. And then kudos to Al Hilal as well for beating Man City.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to discuss next.
4 goals to 3 yesterday, or this morning.
Yeah, this morning. It was this morning.
It was actually a very nice game.
Yeah, I couldn't watch it though, but I learned it was a very nice.
Yeah, it was a very nice game. Went to extra time.
Yeah, City scored, and then second half they
so it was a very nice game. Yeah. And I think City have generally had a bad season. Like Inter Milan.
Oh yeah, City has had a bad season.
They've had a bad season, and I think the new players they've brought in are doing very well. Yeah. But I think they are still getting to gel. Yeah. And I mean, they did not really take the Club World Cups this serious. Someone will argue that yes, they brought in their players early so that they can register them for the Club World Cup. That is true, but this is a period where they think it is supposed to be pre-season period, and all those stuff. So they've used it as an, and then they were one of the best teams in the groups. In fact, they were not one; they were the best team. They won all their games in the group stages. So everybody was thinking they would do well, but I think Al Hilal has done very, very well to beat Man City.
The reason I'm really surprised is I've actually watched Al Hilal this season a couple of times in the Saudi league, and most of the matches I watched, they've been very poor.
Yes, they've been very poor. Even this season, they finished third on the league.
Yes, very poor. They and An are still together. They've been very, very poor. There are times when Etihad lost about 3 matches in a row, and they themselves also lost 3 matches in a row. So I was surprised, but then again,
and Al Hilal have some very,
Oh yeah, they've got some very
good players.
Yeah, very, of course, yeah.
They have Malcolm, formerly
yes.
of Barcelona.
They've got Marcos Leonardo.
They have Renan Lodi.
Yes.
They have João Cancelo.
They've got
Yacine
Koulibaly too. Funny enough,
Bono.
Koulibaly just got
Yacine Bono, who is in
Yeah.
post former Sevilla and
Yeah.
Morocco. And those are very, very good. I remember sometime Yacine Bono was the third best goalkeeper in the world.
Yeah,
So they have very good players.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
and they have a very good coach on the bench,
Yeah.
former Manchester City coach.
Mhm.
And so they have a very good squad in general.
yeah.
And they are playing some nice and good
Yeah,
football.
yeah.
So
good
it's
to
not
see them.
surprising.
in a way.
Surprising in a way that
Yeah.
they are playing this well.
Yeah.
But when you look at the odds on the paper, everything is in favor of Man City, and they've accepted the odds. That's the beautiful thing about football.
Yeah, so we'll
Yeah.
just take it like that. And then the next one was Palmeiras and Botafogo, so two Brazilian clubs. Palmeiras won 1-0, and besides, I actually knew they were going to win. I had that feeling that they were going to get to. I actually predicted earlier on that they were going to get to either the round of 16 or the quarterfinals, and I think that is exactly what I'm seeing here. And then Chelsea beat Benfica by 4-1, which I don't think. To be honest with you, I don't know if I'm surprised or I'm not surprised. I know that Chelsea was going to beat Benfica, but not by 4 goals. And besides, Chelsea have been hot and cold.
The dynamics of the game.
I'm really surprised I'm surprised if they even
The
get to the
dynamics of the
quarterfinals.
game, I think, helped Chelsea in a way. Chelsea, they've not really been that convincing.
In fact, the whole of this season.
Yes. Benfica themselves have not been very good.
Yeah, they're not very good. Yeah.
That very good.
Yeah.
So, but I watched the game, and actually, Chelsea really took the first goal. Their first goal was actually against the round of play.
Okay.
Benfica was really playing very well, and
Yeah.
then there was a weather condition, so the game had to break for almost 4 hours.
Yeah.
I think over 4 hours, and then when they came back, I think the Benfica players just got deflated and everything.
Yeah.
And they just
And besides, the goal came in the extra time.
yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yes. So they just got deflated, and then it just happened.
And this is one of the reasons why I've been seeing a lot of complaints about FIFA Club World Cup. It's been a terrible. Some are saying it's been a terrible decision. Some are saying it's been good, but it's been terrible because it's been hosted in the United States. The stadium I've seen a lot of coaches complain about the pitch not being good,
And the empty stadiums,
and
all
the
that stuff.
atmosphere.
But I think it is the strategy the FIFA is using
Yeah,
to prepare for the World Cup.
exactly.
So they want to hold the Club World Cup and then use it to
understand the dynamics.
the dynamics of the weather, the stadium.
stadiums.
Because I remember the last World Cup that was hosted in Qatar. Because of the weather, Qatar actually had air-conditioned stadiums.
Air-conditioned stadiums. Yeah.
So and then most of the players are complaining about the heat.
The heat.
So this is an opportunity for them to solve that problem and then solve the problems around the pitch, the attendance, and all this. So FIFA has to come out with innovative ways of making
because
fans
apart from
come
even
to the stadium.
apart from even the stadium itself, apart from even the supporters coming to the stadium itself, even even TV broadcasts have been very poor. And one thing is, how many majority of the world are not going to wake up at 1 a.m. to watch FIFA Club World Cup. That's the truth. Unless it's basically his team. Even his team, a lot of people feel like, shall I have work to go the next day? I can't wake up at 1 a.m. to watch football. Because basically, if you wake up at 1 a.m., you are going to sleep after 3. And imagine someone in Ghana that goes to work 5 a.m., 6 a.m., he's not going to watch. Unless it's the 8 p.m. fixtures, like the Chelsea game, for example, was played 8 p.m. in the evening. Yes. That's what that one, a lot of people watch. So the time is also part of everything that FIFA is trying to look at. How they're going to get more TV broadcasts. Yeah.
But with the TV broadcast or with the timing of the games, you cannot really do anything about it because of the time zone difference.
Yeah,
and
is it what
FIFA cannot also say that they want to play the games in the morning.
Yeah, but one thing is what FIFA does to world is that, and that's exactly what they did in Brazil, is they try to figure the time where majority of the world are comfortable watching.
Yes, exactly. That is why some of the players are complaining about the heat, because some of the matches are being played around 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m. in America, and that allows those in this part of the world to watch it around 4 around 7.
Yeah, around
So they are sacrificing the, how do we say, the comfort of the players for we the fans to be able in this part of the world to be able to watch the games.
Most
at
of the
time
one
that we want.
and all the 1 a.m. matches are also favoring those at a different different times.
So 1 a.m. around there is
around in the afternoon or in the evening.
1 a.m. is like
it's
7,
like around
7, 8 p.m.
Yeah, around 8 p.m.
So it's good for them. The atmosphere is good and then the weather conditions are.
So I think it's all to understand.
So it is a nice case study for FIFA, just to correct all the mistakes or all the problems or the loopholes that they think. And then even with that, and the good thing about the World Cup too is it is not only going to be hosted in America. I think America, Mexico, and Canada. So even in America alone, America is big enough. So how to do the go up and down and all those things in America will help you to know how to run things when it comes to the countries.
I won't lie to you. I mean, to me, it's very good at accounting so many issues. For them to sit down and then be able to correct all those mistakes. This is in Qatar where they had to host 32 clubs. 32 national teams. They're like the case where they're going to host 64. So they have to make sure things are in order.
Yes.
So many fans across the world.
And this is the first time they are going to hold a tournament of that magnitude.
Exactly.
And I think the era of hosting a World Cup in one country is over. It won't happen again.
Even though Saudi wants to host 2034
on their own, they can't.
Yes,
it is over. I don't think we will ever see it again.
But I mean Saudi can. Because the reason I'm saying Saudi can
hosting 64 national teams.
Yes, the reason I'm saying they can is that they've got the money, number one. They've got the size to do it. And even with what you're saying right now, like even if it will happen, it might be rarely. Most of the times, definitely going to be 1 or 2.
At least 2 countries.
Yeah, because even in 2030 World Cup, I think it's even 5 countries. They're going to host, I think, the first 3 or 4 matches in Uruguay, and then
yes, the first. I think the opening fixture or the first round of games will be played in South America
before
and then
the rest
will come
in
Spain and Morocco.
Yeah, so even if Saudi host it, it's just because they have the money and they've got the vast land
and infrastructure to support it.
But most countries definitely, of course, it's going to be 2, 3, 2,
yes.
Because it's many.
But even with Saudi, I think FIFA will not agree for them to host it alone. They'll ask them to add someone to the bid, or they have to find someone to help them, one of those Arab nations to help them.
Yeah, so we'll see how that bid goes. Yeah. So PSG for Inter Miami, personally, no one is surprised about that. Then Bayern for Flamengo too. I actually watched that game. It was very good. Yeah, so that game was actually good. So today we have Madrid and Juve, which is going to be a very tough game. Then we have Dortmund and then Monterrey, which is going to be played tomorrow, 1 a.m. tomorrow. So we'll see how those 2 games go. I know a lot of people are going to say Dortmund is going to go through, but we'll see how Monterrey is going to give them a classic game. As for Madrid and Juve, it's like a typical Champions League match.
Yes. Both teams have done fairly well in the Club World Cup. Juventus actually won their first 2 games, and then they were just blown away by Manchester City in their last game. I think they lost by 5 goals to 0. Exactly. 5 goals to 2. Yes, and Juventus are still, I see them as a team still in the rebuilding stage. So they'll get there. Madrid are a more stable team.
Still stable. They struggled one or
2 years. And then both teams have new managers. So I think this will be an interesting game. I would like to watch that game to see how it goes. How Xavi Alonso handles playing a top European team, because since he came, he's not really met any top.
It's 7 p.m. so it's a perfect time for we Ghanaians
actually.
Yeah, we'll see how that game goes. All right, so as we wait for the results for those matches, so the quarterfinals is done. We have Fluminense versus Al-Hilal. Then we have Palmeiras versus Chelsea. Then PSG versus Bayern Munich. Now, so it was the Madrid Juve, the winner will face Dortmund in Monterrey. So we'll see how those ones also would go. So we'll still keep an eye on the FIFA Club World Cup as is nearing an end. Right. So we go straight to our transfer. Remember, as I said, every day, every Tuesday, so I'm going to give you some important news on transfer, on the transfer issues, and then I keep on saying our transfer news is brought to you by the King Fabrizio Romano. So that's where we are going to get our that's what we are going to. That's our source of our news. So let's go straight to transfer news. Right. So first of all, Aston Villa confirmed they are not going to activate £40 million buy option clause for Marcus Rashford. Rashford returns to Manchester United, and €40 million prize remains available for any club interested in Marcus this summer. Yeah. So basically, I'm not surprised because personally, Rashford doesn't even want to play for Villa.
Yes.
Personally, everybody knows he's eyeing the Barca move,
Yes.
and I think if he wanted to, United are desperate to offload him. If he wanted to stay at Villa, he and United can negotiate even a 30 for Villa to sign him. It's just basically he doesn't want to go to Villa. United knows that. Villa just want to. Villa actually just. They don't want people to know that, oh, he has actually rejected them. So just put in the news that we don't want him, and then that is the matter ends over there. So yeah, and then the thing with we all saw Rashford in Villa. He did very well. So Villa can't tell me they don't want him. Is he not basically wanting them in a way? Or maybe basically they feel like 40 million is too much for them.
For a player like
for a player like Rashford.
Age and
but then
everything.
I feel like he's still worth more than 40 million. Yeah. It's just the fact that United the thing is that United are just not performing well. And even if you have Kylian Mbappe playing for United, this current United, his price tag will still drop. I mean, any world-class player will have his price tag dropped.
It's true,
yeah,
but so if you pick Bruno Fernandes from that team, he's a world-class player, and I don't think his value has dropped one bit.
But I don't think any top club.
But Marcus Rashford has been the how will I put it, the own orchestrator of his own downfall. His work ethic has been in question for a very long time.
Yeah.
His work ethic has been in question for a very long time.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that has been, I think, he has been his own bane. So and he wanting to go to Barcelona, and Barcelona also actually looking at him because Barcelona are looking to bring him on loan because of his versatility, and he also wants to come to Barcelona. So I think it is just prudent for Aston Villa just to close that door and then look at more feasible, younger and more affordable options to strengthen their squad for next season.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, you are right. I mean, yeah, absolutely right. But you see, the thing is, sometimes I also feel like the Rashford issue, the Rashford not being proactive most of the times in games, I just feel like sometimes it can also be the sort of style of play. Maybe that's what the coach wants him to sort of like save. The coach wants him to sort of save energy. That's how sometimes because I'm coming. Because the thing is that no actual coach have come out to complain about his fitness. Eric Ten Hag never did that throughout his stay at United. Ole never did that. And even with Amorim, I mean, even with Amorim, I still have some slight doubt in that because if you tell me Rashford is not fit enough, he doesn't run.
It's not really about his fitness. It is about his.
He doesn't really run enough in games. Anytime I sit down and I watch United, I sit out with almost all that. The only player that I see at United that runs all the time is Bruno. The rest, especially Garnacho, and then even Ahmed himself doesn't run enough. And then we see that consistently throughout the whole of last season. And if he hasn't been able to condemn that, and he only condemns Rashford, then there's a sort of discrepancies in that. We see there's a lot of conflict.
Rashford Obunuhu Messi.
No, not really.
Yes, it's true. And Rashford has been, you see, he came, it is unfortunate that he's one of the, let's say, the older players in the Manchester United squad, but he doesn't put himself, like, he doesn't behave like it.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be like the role model in the team, but he's not behaving like it.
Yeah.
He has been pampered.
Yeah.
He has been pampered a lot, and so it's made him feel big. So when he went to, let's say, I don't think any coach will tell you not to press or to involve yourself in a game just to conserve energy. He's young. Unless you tell me Rashford is 38 years or 34 years and he can't run. Even 35, 36-year-old players are pressing.
Yeah.
How much more you, someone who is just 27, 28 years? He recently turned 28 years.
Yeah.
So I don't think it is any instruction from coaches, but he sees himself big, and then he thinks that he doesn't have to press. They have to do the work and feed him the ball and all those stuff. I think if he applies himself more and listens to more instructions, and then he does according to them, I think he still has the potential to reach where he is supposed to reach.
All right. Right. Away from the Rashford issue. So Ansu Fati joins AS Monaco on a loan deal with 11 million euros buy option clause from FC Barcelona. One more big signing after Eric Dyer and Paul Pogba completed by Thiago Scuro and Carlos Avena. Ansu picks the shirt number 31. Right, so last season, Barca wanted to get rid of Ansu Fati because of the fact that he didn't do really well on loan at Brighton. And that was when they wanted to sign Rashford, and the issue and then the deal collapsed because that was when they had the financial issue. And before they could sign Rashford, they had to get rid of Fati. Now Fati is going. It doesn't actually mean Rashford is coming, because the main signing for Barca is obviously Nico Williams. Yeah. So away from even the whole Rashford deal, now Fati had the potential to be one of the greatest players to be a very world-class player for Barca. Let me just put it in that word. And it's just like the way Amin has started. That's how he started. He had the hype. People were thinking he was the next Messi, and then all of a sudden injuries came in, and his career has become silent ever since. Do you think joining Monaco is now a whole stepping stone for him to try and regain try to get his career back on track? You know, we all thought he was going to do that at Brighton, which he didn't. And I felt like Brighton was one of the perfect places he could get that. We've seen so many young players try to rejuvenate their careers. But then again, do you think Monaco is going to be a way he's going to get his career back on?
I think yes. Monaco is a good fit for Ansu Fati. I think the Brighton you talked about, it was good, but I just think the intensity and then of the Premier League was not how do you call it, did not help him in a bit. He was coming from the Spanish league, and then he was just come back from an injury as well. And you know, even to now, if you watch Ansu Fati, he still lacks a little bit of confidence, and then I think he's scared of getting injured, because he got injured too frequent that I think it got into his head. So mentally, I think he's getting there now, and Monaco is a good place for you to revive your career as a young player. Ansu Fati is actually not old; he's just 22 years old. He's been around for a long time. You think he's almost 28, but Ansu Fati is still young. So, and Monaco, you know Monaco. Some of the brightest young players have come from them: Kylian Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Fabinho. So that is they have this guy Ilias Akumak, and they actually have very good young players. And if he goes there and he applies himself, I think that will be an opportunity for him to start revitalize his career, and then let's see where he will go from there. But I think it's a very good move for him personally. He'll get to play a lot more football, unlike Barcelona where you sit on the bench, and with the attacking options that Barcelona have, and then the energy that they have, I don't think Ansu Fati can compete at the moment. Let him go away, get some more game time, and then he'll come back, and then we'll see.
Right. So West Ham had a proposal rejected in the recent days for El Hadj Malik Diop worth around 20 million euros. Slavia Praha valued the player at higher price with more clubs keen on signing. Right. So this guy, I think last season I was watching the Praha derby, Slavia. He's a defender actually. So I was watching the Slavia Praha and Sparta Praha match. I think one of their matches, and he was absolutely brilliant. It was top class. And again, I watched a match between the same Slavia Prague and then Victoria Pilsen, and it was so good. So I'm not surprised West Ham wants him, because personally, West Ham have been poor last year. They concede so many goals, so many goals, and I'm really surprised how they finished about Spurs. Personally, so surprised. They concede so many goals, and then
It shows you how poor Spurs were.
exactly, yeah, but they concede so many goals. So I mean, to see him going to see West Ham trying to eye him is very good. He's young, he's very young, and then you know, one of the Premier League, you need young defenders. Just look at exactly like United signing
Lenny Euro.
Yeah, you need young guys that can run, have the pace, have the energy, and these guys will be a very good fit out. But it doesn't mean they only need one defender. They need to add one more defender.
Yes.
But then this guy will be a very good fit for them.
He'll be a very good signing for them.
For them, yeah.
He will help them solve their defensive leaks.
Yes.
Yes, he will be one of the patches in the hole, and all they have to do now is to meet Slavia Prague's asking price, and then they'll get the deal done.
They'll get the deal done. Yeah, they need to try and you see, they've got Graham Potter, who's a very good coach, so they need to try and get him the right players, and then at least.
Yes. Me, I don't have anything to say about Graham Potter. I don't see him as a good coach.
You don't address him as a good
I've
coach.
never rated Graham Potter.
So you never rated him when he was playing at Brighton?
No, not even at Brighton. I think Brighton had a good system, and then he fit into the system very well. And I think Brighton is a place where any coach who has a decent record or a decent coaching ability can thrive, because the pressure there is not that much. And so I think the focus at Brighton is more on developing players.
So are you basing your argument on the fact that because he didn't really perform for Chelsea, or right when he was at Brighton, he still didn't?
Right when he was at Brighton, I didn't really rate Graham Potter.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it is personal but I've not really rated Graham Potter that much.
Yeah.
He's good. He's a good, but I don't really rate him. And when Chelsea signed him, I was like, what? What did they see? Yeah, and they signed him for 21 million. That was it for me.
Yeah.
But he's not. I don't really rate him.
Yeah.
I think he's good, but I don't think he will succeed at West Ham. If you are to talk about the Premier League, I think he'll be one of the first managers to be sacked next season.
Wow, let's see how it goes. Right, so I'll come to the Kudus issue. I just want to go straight to some of the important news, and then we'll talk about Kudus, because our time is almost up. Right, so Tamir Abraham is on his way to Istanbul today to become the new Besiktas player on club record deal from AS Roma. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is getting his man, he's getting his top striker. He has said that he needs a top striker, and I think Tammy is someone who can at least get him the goals in the Turkish league. He can get him the goal because Besiktas have qualified for the Europa League.
Yes.
So he can get him the goals over there too. So we'll see his performance over there. And I think so far Ole has been very good for Besiktas. So we'll see how their season goes next season. Arsenal has also made contact with Eze's camp over the weekend. Arsenal actually wants to sign Eze from Palace. Tottenham are also keen on Eze. Eze is a top class player. I used to remember last year Olise left, and I think he deserves to. I think it's time for him to go. I want him to go to us. I don't want him to go to Spurs. I don't like Arsenal though, but I want him to go because I feel like
to give him a platform for him to be seen.
I think he's already seen.
No,
I just feel like
it's a bigger platform.
Yeah, bigger platform. Yeah, not
and then he'll get to play in Tottenham also playing the Champions League though,
but Arsenal will be more consistent there.
Yes.
And then I think Arsenal. I think he'll fit right in there.
And then Arsenal also need him.
Yes, Martinelli is not somebody. He's not really.
He's not reliable.
Exactly. So I think Arsenal actually needs him. So I would like to see how that deal will go, because I would love to see Eze play for Arsenal, even though United fans are. If you read the comment section, you're gonna laugh.
And I think United, there's Eze. You can go for Eze now.
Charlie, United, we'll talk about that later. United has a very huge problem. United has a very, very big problem.
Let's talk about Kudus.
We'll talk about Kudus. And before we go to Kudus, let me just finalize this. We discussed this the last time you came. We'll come there. So, João Pedro has completed his medical as new Chelsea player. So he's joining Chelsea from Brighton on a £55 million plus 5 million add-ons.
Can I say something about that?
I mean, you
I
can.
think that is an excellent signing for Chelsea.
And why is that so?
He brings something different from all the strikers that they have. In fact, all the attackers they have.
Yeah.
His hold up play is very good. His numbers are not off the charts,
Yeah.
but he's a very good
Reliable
player.
yeah.
His hold up play, he can play anywhere in the front, and he can be a very good number 9 as well. So
this is
I think
this is a Sancho replacement, I guess.
not Sancho replacement, but this I think he's a very good player,
Yeah.
and I think he can even play ahead of Delap or what is his name, Nicholas Jackson.
So basically, right now we've got 2 strikers, Delap and Jackson. They've got him as a winger. They've got Neto as a winger. They've got Madueke as a winger. I mean, Chelsea have got some very good players.
Yes, and then I think by the end of the transfer season, Madueke will leave Chelsea.
Wow.
Yes, so it's good they have João Pedro,
Yeah.
and he's a very good player. I love him. I like when I watch him.
Yeah.
I like the way he plays his football. He's flexible. His flair. So he's good. He's a very good signing in my opinion.
Because I know
for
this
Chelsea.
guy might also leave Chelsea too. What was his name? The guy from Leipzig.
Nkunku.
Nkunku, yeah.
Yes. So he's
So I'm sure
he's a
Chelsea
good,
might even go for another winger, probably.
maybe.
Maybe. So we'll see how it goes.
Chelsea have signed so many players we can't even keep
You
track.
can't even keep track, yeah. So yeah, you know the last time you came, we were talking about John Duran.
Yes.
I told you a young player going to yeah, I have a problem with him being young and after one season he's going to Fenerbahce.
I think the Turkish league they are doing something that people are not paying attention to.
Yes.
They are signing a lot of big players.
Yes.
And that is the reason why I think Galatasaray was pushing so hard to keep Victor Osimhen.
Exactly.
Because he's a big name. And then
Yes.
I think they are doing what maybe let me say maybe the Saudis are trying to do. They are trying to bring in like big players to just to
because
make
they
sure
see
that
the performance of Duran.
yes,
Very, very top young player.
yes,
And I've seen
his potential is
yeah,
great.
and I've seen the other rivals, Besiktas bringing Abraham.
Manchester has
Yeah.
signed Abraham. What is Galatasaray has signed Leroy Sané.
Yeah, Leroy Sané.
So
They are
most
looking
of
at
the
that scene now. The thing is, yeah,
yes. So
that's why they wanted to keep Osimhen, but
so something is happening
something
in
is
Turkey
happening
that we are
in
not
Turkey. We're
taking.
not- yeah,
Very soon it will hit us.
yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's finalize everything. The Kudus issue.
Oh my boy.
Right. So first of all, even before I even go into details with everything, Kudus to Tottenham, does it sound right in your mind?
Yes.
Why?
Tottenham is a notch above West Ham.
But West Ham finished ahead of Tottenham.
It doesn't matter. The fact that Manchester United finished, or maybe Brighton finished ahead of Manchester United doesn't make Manchester United or Brighton a bigger club than Manchester United. So yes, I think Tottenham is a bigger club than West Ham, and I think it's a good fit for him. Looking at the manager he's going to work under, all the players that I have watched under Thomas Frank at Brentford have improved in leaps and bounds, and I think this is a perfect opportunity for Mohamed Kudus to also, for an aspect of his game to be unlocked, and then he'll get to play in the Champions League again. And the last time Mohamed Kudus played in the Champions League, it was beautiful. I remember he scored that magnificent goal against Liverpool in the group stages. So I think getting to see Mohamed Kudus in the Champions League again and playing for Tottenham City, Tottenham Hotspur is very good for me. It helps Tottenham solve a lot of their attacking issues.
So, right now, looking at what you said now, so looking at what Spurs have now, where do you think Spurs are going to fit Kudus in their front? I know definitely. I know as for the centre forward, I know that is not something Spurs are looking for. They've already gotten a good centre forward.
Matthias Tell,
Yeah, they've got Matthias Tell, they've got
Richarlison.
no. For their, I mean the centre forward. Yeah, we've got Richarlison normally plays on the wings, right? So they've got Tell, and then the guy they signed from is it Bournemouth?
Signed a player from Bournemouth.
I've actually his name has actually been. But then again, looking at the front four, the strike, central attacking midfield, left wing, right wing, where do you think?
The central attacking midfield. That is Kudi's best position when he's playing behind the striker.
Yeah.
When he is not the main man.
Yeah.
When he's the orchestra. When he's making those late runs into the box. that is where Kudus is most effective, and I think he fits in perfectly for how do you call it, Thomas Frank and Tottenham Hotspur. So I think it's a good signing. If the signing goes through, I think it's a very good signing. I just hope that West Ham do not make it difficult for.
Yeah, because the way I'm seeing things, I think it's going to actually go through because according to Fabrizio, they started
Personal talk.
There's not personal talks
with
yes.
But the asking price of West Ham is high. They are asking 85 million.
Yeah, so I was talking about Dominic Solanke.
Yes.
And I know definitely he's going to start ahead of. I don't know for Matthias still, but I feel like he's going to start ahead. He's definitely going to start ahead of Richarlison.
And Kudus is not going to compete with
the front three.
you know,
the actual forward.
the forward. Yes. Even if he's going to compete, he can compete with Kulusevski and take that position away from him.
So even if it's okay, so now let's take it. Solanke is starting at their centre forward. Now they've got the two ways, which I'm sure definitely is going to be Son, and then maybe I don't know if Frank would want to play Thomas Tuchel as a winger.
No, you see, and if you look at Thomas Frank, he always likes to play two attackers, like two centre forwards.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
You get it. Juan Wissa at Brentford, Juan Wissa and Brian Mbeumo. And I
So
think he can play Kudus as a second centre forward.
Yeah, or you can basically use both Tel and then Solanke as that two centre forward. So
Mo Kudus is not going to
play as a centre forward.
No, not even as a centre forward. He's not on to James Maddison.
But then again, remember, Maddison barely even
gets fit.
Yes.
So even when Maddison is not playing, he's a quality addition to the squad, and then it gives them more squad depth. So in general, it is a good transfer in my opinion.
And personally, because he himself can play as a centre forward on the left, on the right, and also as an attacking midfielder.
Yes.
And Maddison barely gets fit, so he can play that attacking midfielder. And at this rate, he's better than Maddison now. Let's take.
It's debatable.
It's debatable though, but let's take the whole performance. Okay, it's debatable. I get it, but
if Mohamed Season has had a very poor season, Mohamed Kudus has had a very poor season, so I don't want to make that argument now.
But then again, let's see how it goes.
Yes. Oh, I think it's a very good.
It's a very good signing for him.
Fantastic signing for yes.
Yeah, so
and then looking at the manager that he's going to work under, I am hopeful.
Yeah. I just saw a comment. Somebody says Arsenal wants to sign Eze. Liverpool wants to sign with Chelsea, with Pedro. Somebody says United with Mbeumo. That's if he goes through, and then Tottenham goes with Kudus. Now, just to end everything, because my time is out. The window is yet to end. We're not even just halfway through. But are you seeing some sign of interest in next season's?
Yes.
In this
Most of the top teams are trying to boost the attacking verves. So I think Manchester United I've been following this Manchester United in Mbeumo thing for a very long time. I'm even beginning to get tired of it. So let's see if they eventually get Mbeumo, Arsenal gets Eze, and Tottenham gets Kudus. I think they've all signed very good players. Yeah. We'll see who comes top at the end of the season.
Yeah. Exactly, because at this rate, we'll see who gets sacked first. I was speaking to one of my kids, and he was telling me that Chelsea's manager Maresca will get sacked early next season. I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? And I'm telling like over Amorim or who? Amorim. He says the top team will get booted. I was like, no.
Okay, among the top teams, I don't know. I can't see. It looks likely like it's Amorim.
Yeah, that guy doesn't like Chelsea. So he said Enzo. It's funny though. But I was like, no, I don't think it's.
Oh, it's likely Amorim, but in the totality of the Premier League, I think Graham Potter will be sacked first.
We'll see how that goes. All right, so once again, this is all for today's episode on Jabsports. We'll actually have to thank our sponsors. So EF Metalworks. Anything that has to do with Metalworks, just go online, just type EF Metalworks on Facebook, and then just contact Mr. Frimpong for anything you need. Nurturing the American Dream by Frank J. Mensah has anything that has to do with how you want to gain success without necessarily you sitting in Accra here or sitting in Ghana here to gain success. You don't need to travel, just stay in Accra, stay in Kumasi, stay in Tamale, you can build success in Ghana. And then Dell Cosmetics, anything that has to do with beauty and anything that has to do with beauty jewelries, high quality cosmetics, just contact Dell Cosmetics on Instagram, and they use Jab Media at the checkout. Right. As I said last week, we are still preparing for. We are still planning on how we are going to do. We are trying to create like, new shows that has to do with sports, like something with transfer, and then the podcast. As I said, the podcast, we're still deciding on that. We'll do it, but we are still planning on that. Everything has to do with finances, and that's why I urge all of you to follow us on our social media platforms, subscribe to our YouTube page, so that we can build our audience. Because so that when we start doing a podcast, we are doing to a large amount of people, and then keep supporting Jabsports, right? So we'll bring you more transfer news next week. As I said, we're going to share more transfer images. We're going to share more transfer images from next week, right? So before I go, it's happy special birthday to Minister K. Nkrumah from my boss MC Balfour to you. He says, long life, more money with good health. So and then this Sunday is the President's Cup. This Sunday is the President's Cup between Kumasi Asante Kotoko and Accra Asafo. My team is Phobia, and if I'm available on Sunday, yes, I'm going to be at the stadium. So the match is going to be played at the Accra Sports Stadium. So I'm going to be there definitely, and we'll see how that will go. Right. So that is it for today's episode of Jabsports on Jab Media TV. Once again, you can follow me on all my social media platforms at i.amamin. So i.amamin on Facebook, and then Mr. Amin on other social media platforms. And then you can also subscribe to our page on YouTube at Jab.